Alex, one of the things that I've observed is there's a real reticence to engage customers with good questions, to get into their world, to find out what's going on for them, some of the issues and problems that they face, so that we can tailor any proposal, that fits those needs. It sounds simple, it sounds obvious, but yet, like I said, there's a real reticence about asking questions to customers. So why is that, do you think?
Well, first of all, I'm going to make a bold statement, Gareth. I believe that lack of curiosity can kill the salesperson, if you think about the slightly unusual phrase there. It's so important to be curious. So important to be curious. But you're right. Oftentimes I'm told, I don't want to ask that question of my customer because I don't think that they will like me asking that question. And I believe that's founded on a fear of asking the questions and sometimes actually not wanting to hear the answers because they may not be the most helpful answer. They may not be the most helpful answer for you in terms of what you're trying to achieve. And remember one thing, if there is an issue or a reason to say no or an objection, whatever we want to refer to it as, from the customer's perspective, it's there whether we know about it or not. And we've got to make it our business to find out about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It reminds me of an example from a few years ago when a client said, "Yeah, I can't ask that. I might hear some things that I don't like." So there's almost that reluctance to face into the truth. And I guess, isn't it better to find out what's really going on, whether we like it or not? And I'm just wondering, what's the consequences of not asking and not finding out?
Well, the consequences of not asking and not finding out is that you're going to fail. I mean, it's as simple as that. You will not get away, whatever it is you're trying to get away, because there are barriers in the way. You've got to make it your job to find out what the problems are, even if sometimes it's uncomfortable hearing some of those answers. And to do that, you need to get curious. And to get curious, you need to plan your questions. And I don't just mean think of some things you want to ask. I mean, write down the questions you want to ask. And when you're faced with resistance or you're faced with a problem or an objection, get even more curious and probe and find out what's driving that, because you're going to make it your business to find that out, because otherwise you will not succeed.
It's interesting. There's something there about a reticence about asking. We might find some stuff out that we don't like or don't want to hear. But I'm guessing what you're really saying is we need to reframe that, which is, what is it saying to your customer if you're not curious? Yeah. What's that doing for the relationship with your customer if you aren't asking the questions that show you do want to understand and you do care? So I guess ultimately that can fundamentally destroy a relationship if we're not asking.
Yeah, I mean, showing a lack of interest in what's really going on for the customers is a sure way to break rapport, that's for sure. But also remember, just like you, they're measured on their success. And those KPIs will be objective. They will be, numbers that they need to achieve. And I challenge, any commercial team, how well do you know your customers' KPIs, not only just as an organization, but also as an individual? Because if you can figure out what it is that's going to make them successful, you can support that process for them. And then again, further develop rapport and help solve their problems more easily.
So I guess in a nutshell, if you're not asking questions to find out what's going on for them, you're living in your world, whereas really the most successful people aren't asking questions and therefore living in their world.
Yes, beautifully put.